Good morning, everyone. I hope this finds you well and living your best life in Jesus Christ. I wanted to share you about the other day where I got into a bit of a tug of war with a soon-to-be 5-year-old. See, Landry and I were playing on the porch, and he had a plastic sword. I had a tube of some sort, and we were sword fighting when I grabbed his sword by the end and refused to let go. It drove him nuts. So he grabbed the end of my tube, and we were in kind of a standoff. After much tugging, I told him that I would let go if he would. He agreed, and I let go of his sword, at which point he not only didn't let go of my tube, but started to flail away at my head with his sword. I told him that's cheating, and he needed to stop, at which point he told me, I'm not letting go until I win. Needless to say, I gave in rather quickly. The reason I mention this is because in our Bible study this week, we'll talk about Jacob, and this reminded me of the story of Jacob told in Genesis 32. See, if you remember from your Sunday school days, Jacob and his brother Esau were the sons of Abraham, and Esau was the oldest brother and should have had all the rights to all of Jacob's goods and land when he died, but Jacob, being a trickster, fooled Abraham into giving him the blessing meant for Esau. Needless to say, this made Esau pretty mad, really angry, and he vowed to kill his brother. Well, in Genesis 32, it's looking like Esau is coming after Jacob and his family to do just that. And even though Jacob sends him gifts to try to appease him, Jacob has been told Esau is coming with 400 men, and this is not looking like a pleasant family reunion. So Jacob's scared. Well, rightly so, I imagine, and he prays for God to protect him and his family. So he decides to move his family and all his possessions across the ford of Jabbok, and he stays behind thinking to spare them from his brother's wrath. And when night falls, he's all alone. Well, then, if things weren't bad enough, a man appears and starts a wrestling match with Jacob, which I always found fascinating as a child. So anyway, in Genesis 32:24 through 29, this tells us what happens next. I'm going to read it to you. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." I like that. I always like that story. I like the faith and I like the perseverance of Jacob. I've been accused on occasion of being stubborn, and I think I could have taken some lessons from Jacob. I mean, he fights until he can fight no more, and even when badly wounded, he just refuses to let go. He says, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." See, by hanging in there when he was hurting and scared, he succeeded in receiving God's blessing, and through God's help, a joyful reconciliation with Esau. Sometimes I find that I give up too soon. I don't know about you, but I'll pray for something fervently for a while, maybe even for a long while, but then something happens. I get hurt by someone or something, or I get discouraged, or I get depressed, or I'm in pain, or whatever, and instead of hanging on until the Lord's blessing comes, I give up. And I cheat myself of a blessing from God right when I need it most. I think sometimes we blame the Lord for not blessing us when, if we would just persevere a bit longer, we would receive a blessing much greater than anything we ever asked for. "O ye of little faith?" Well, maybe, but how about "O ye of little tenacity"? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the Lord told us in Hebrews 13:5, "Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you." When we're in pain and scared and we think He's indifferent or far away from us, it is us that becomes indifferent or drawn far away. He's always right there, and we have to have the faith, the strength, and the determination to keep praying, keep working, and keep holding on by declaring like Jacob, "I'm not letting go until you bless me, Lord." He will if you just hold on. He promised He would, and He will. But He expects us to hold on tight to Him until it's time. So today, if you're getting tired of your circumstances like the pandemic, I certainly am, or your health, or your job, or whatever you find yourself facing, if you wonder if things will ever get any better, if you're depressed or scared like we all are sometimes, then keep praying, keep working, and channel your inner Jacob. I'm going to ask God for strength, and I'm going to hang in there until I get the blessing. You want to join me? I hope you make today a terrific day. I want you to know that I'm here if you need me, and I love you all.